I love that intro. It's fucking sick.
What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the Kopite podcast and another episode of Reds in Europe. I'm Mick, joined as usual by Jay Pearson. How are we doing, Jay?
I'm all right, pal. I don't know where Matt is. I'm trying to point to him like the Brady Bunch.
Oh, no, we're there. This way. There.
He's up there for me.
Are you feeling much better, Matt?
I'm much better, yeah. Thank you very much.
Well, anyway, we're here to preview, obviously, tomorrow night. Whatever it's going to be like, whatever team gets thrown out there. It's not. Yeah. It'll be nice to win and get another win on the board. But yeah, what are you thinking then, boys, in terms of starting 11? Because obviously there's a lot of players' names throwing around there, the likes of Jake Kane and Leighton Clarkson, two 19-year-old kids who could come into the fray for this one. So, what are you thinking tomorrow, Matt? In terms of that, are you wanting to see quite a strong team for that one?
I mean, Klopp said in his press conference, I think if we win, we go to 15 points, and it's a Liverpool record, which would be nice. But I think I'd rather fit players for the next few games than a Champions League record just now. So I think there'll be a lot of rotation. I think some players will still have to start. I think Hendo will get a start. I think either Fabi or Matip will get a start. Shimikas will play. I think Trent will get some minutes. Naby will get some minutes. But I think we'll rotate as much as we can, but not to the extent that Kopite, Kane and Clarkson, like Martin said, I don't think they'll play. Or I don't think they'll start. They might make an appearance off the bench, but I don't think they'll start.
Yeah, I think if it was me, I think Kopite will start.
Do you?
I shouldn't have took that away there, Jay. Sorry, I just seeing these eyes over the top. Yeah, I think I've seen something from a journo on Twitter about Kopite, who was playing for the youth team the other day, and he got took off for half time. So I think that was pre-arranged. You put me off, Jay. Sorry. Yeah, I think that was pre-arranged with Kopite. So I imagine that was obviously tactical, so we could get a few minutes in this. Jay, what are you thinking, Kopite? Obviously, he looked good when he's played in a few games earlier in the season, but obviously he's been injured since. So, were you looking forward to seeing him maybe back in for this one?
Yeah, definitely, mate. As long as Matip doesn't play, because you've got to wrap him up in cotton wool, haven't you, at the minute? Once he gets through a game, you're like, right, he's played a game. He doesn't need to play the next one. Right, let's put him away, put him back in the top drawer. Let's just keep him quiet in there, nice and snug. Let's keep him there for a bit. But it'd be nice to see players that have been on this sort of UEFA B list, as they call it, getting some game time. It's always good when young players get experience, and I think when Jay Spearing got his debut, when we spoke to him, Mick, we spoke to Jay Spearing, didn't we, about his Champions League debut at PSV and how much he got out of it. So again, if we see the likes of Kane and Clarkson, like Martin Barton said, then why not? And Kopite, obviously. That's
what I mean, because it's like we can look at it as a dead rubber, but like for some load of these players, it's not. Like if you like Kelleher's played obviously 2 in a row, played so well, but this won't be meaningless for him because he'll want as many games as he can get. The same for Kopite, same for Tsimikas as well. He'll probably start as well. Same for Keita, who's just coming back in. Same for Minamino if he starts. Same for the Origi if he plays. There's loads in there who, if they get put into the starting 11, which I imagine they will, then there's a lot riding on it for them because they want to prove how good they are, don't they, Matt, in terms of trying to force their way back into the reckoning?
Yeah, I mean, I think Shimikas needs to start. I think Robertson needs a rest. I think he's played the most minutes this season. I heard that earlier. So Robbo needs a rest. I think Trent definitely needs some minutes under his belt, especially considering he's coming back from injury. Naby as well needs some minutes, but I don't expect them to play the full 90. So I think Trent and Naby will get some minutes, get some game time under their belts, and then be hooked off maybe half time and at the hour mark, something like that. I think I said this against Ajax and against Atalanta and was proved wrong, but this one is definitely going to see Origi start. I mean, he's definitely going to start, whether we want him to or not. I think Taki will start as well. Hopefully, Taki starts in the false 9 position, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I think it's a weird one with Origi, isn't it? Because when he's played, like I don't think we've been overly complimentary in terms of his performance because, well, for me anyway, I don't speak for you two obviously, but for me, he just kind of slows us down a little bit. And I think it was Klopp today said like he's not been injured. He's just we've got that many attacking players now that he's struggling to force his way in. Yeah. So do you think this is a good one for him, Jay, in terms of coming back in a game that's in the grand scheme of things, isn't important, but it is a good way to get some fitness and some minutes in the legs, especially for Origi, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. We know what we get with Origi, don't we? Wherever he plays on the left, on the right, or up front, in the middle. I mean, so it's I don't know. It's hard to sum up at the minute, isn't it? Because Origi's fit, he's going to play in these types of games, and we're not going to get the Origi who is the Barcelona Origi or the Champions League final Origi, because he's not that type of player. Do you know what I mean? And what I mean by that is, when he's starting a game, we all know. I mean, the Ev game 5-2 was completely different, but there was different types of players that were supporting him at the end of the day. So it will be nice to see Origi, and I'd love to see him get a goal and stuff like that, because there's been a lot of question marks around him. But again, it's like Matt said, with Taki, I really want to see Minamino get some game time. But again, it's so difficult for him as well, because this type of game is a nothing game. So how do you get yourself up for it and prove yourself that you've got a good pedigree to then start the next game in the Premier League? But we know he's not going to, because the front three are ahead of him, and then Jota's come from nowhere and he's ahead of him. Taki's been here for a year now, so it's a very awkward situation. It's a weird game tomorrow. It really is. It's going to be so strange.
Yeah, and like you said, like we've got so many attacking options, but they're all versatile. But they're all versatile to a level where they can play anywhere to a level. And Minamino's in that bracket. And I think I put Origi in there as well, but they're just a bracket below at the minute, aren't they, to try and force their way into that? Obviously, we're doing so well with so many injuries that even like obviously the top end of the pitch, we're still managing to obviously get wins on the board. So it is difficult to see these type of players come in, especially like you said, Minamino was good towards the beginning of the season, but when he's been put in, you kind of will on him to do well, and he's just not grasped it at the minute, has he, Matt? In terms of, I don't know if it's maybe a fitness issue, I don't know what it is, but it just seems a bit lightweight. I don't know if that can change in the future, but it's just you do want to see him do well, don't you, when he starts?
Yeah, like he's not, and then before any City fans bite my head off, he's not at the quality of David Silva. Like nowhere near. But when David Silva first came to the Premier League, he had. Excuse me, let me just hang up. When David Silva came to the Premier League,
that's him having a go at you for not saying he's like David Silva.
Right,
he's trying to go fucking bastard. I'm fucking great.
When David Silva first came to the Premier, he was kind of lightweight as well. So I mean, I'd give him a few years to or at least a little bit longer to bulk up. But I think apart from the fact that maybe he hasn't grasped his opportunity with both hands as well, it's a significant drop-off, Salah, Mane, Firmino to Taki, Origi, and then if it's Shaq, it's Shaq. So maybe the level of expectation that we're putting on him isn't helping either. The fact he's not getting a good run of games in isn't going to help either. But hopefully if we play him in a position that he's comfortable in, like he bossed the Salzburg game against us from the false line position, if I remember correctly, like just behind Haaland. So if we can put him there, and instead of shifting him out to the wing, maybe this is the game that he actually he bosses it as well, because he put Van Dijk on his ass. So why shouldn't he be able to do it against some Danish centre backs?
Good point.
Yeah, and I think we do forget that he is still quite new to the club. If you think about it, in terms of he's still 25. We only signed him in was it January this year, wasn't it? So he's still new. It's coming up to a year since he's been at the club, and he's not played enough games to kind of get a rhythm, has he? So it's a bit unfair of us to expect wonders, but he's still a good, solid squad player, isn't he, Jay? Like you can count him towards the end of it. If you need a goal maybe, or some creativity in the final third in a tough game, he'll provide that.
Yeah, mate, you're absolutely right. And what you've got to think about as well is he was signed pre-COVID and pre the way we all are at the minute, and that's something we've got to really remember, because Klopp's bought in for an idea of the way we play football. We're probably not playing the same football at the minute due to COVID. We're probably playing a different way, and he's probably thinking, well, this is not the game I'm supposed to be playing. It's not why I was bought or anything like that. So, you go back 12 months, and if Michael Edwards and Klopp knew what was going to happen, if you could tell them, right, there's going to be a shutdown, we're going to then start again late. Then you're going to have a crap pre-season. It's going to be a couple of weeks. You're going to start the game. Then it's going to be a game every 3 days. They might not have even signed Taki Minamino. He might not have been that type of player to fit in that mould, because we are in a different time now. But if we give him time, when it settles back down again, I'm sure he'll come good eventually. But he reminds me of remember when we signed Dirk out, and it was a case of where's he going to play? Is he going to play up front? Is he going to play on the left? Is he going to play on the right? It's one of them you can't find a position because you can't drop Firmino because then you see a drop off from Salah and Mane. It's not effort and all that, but you just see a drop off from the front three, don't you? So he's not really the Bobby replacement that we thought he'd be. So do we do the thing and do we pull him back now and start fitting him into the midfield?
Yeah, and like I said, he's still he's 25, he's 26 in January, so he's still young. Really, he's still got a couple of years where he should be coming to his prime in the next couple of years. So he's still got that time to get to bed himself in, hasn't he? So he should be all right. Sorry, boys, I've just seen that Man United are getting beat 1-0 by Leipzig. Whoop.
Yeah, nice one, Greg.
Also, the City left back.
Oh yeah, Angelino. While we digress now, so we've got a giveaway on the Twitter page with Moving Unit, where you can go and win yourself a little Boss Little cassette hoodie or t-shirt of your choice. So go and check that out as well. So yeah, but anyway,
Moving Unit is a very good designer. Woo.
But yeah, I was just looking before. Obviously, I said at the top of the pod, like the likes of Jake Kane and Leighton Clarkson, both 19-year-olds. The fact that they haven't made the debut, obviously, it isn't shocking because they're trying to get into a Liverpool side, which is so good. But when you look at, they're in the same age bracket as Curtis Jones, and Curtis Jones has played 26 games in the last 2 to 3 years, scoring 6 goals. That just proves how good Curtis Jones is, doesn't it, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, Curtis Jones is probably in a league of his own. Well, definitely in a league of his own compared to Liverpool Academy players at the moment, bar Trent. Curtis Jones is a phenomenal talent. This is not to say that these kids aren't, but there's clearly something about Jones. I mean, Klopp said today, especially he's been playing with it for us for years now. He's just started it perfectly every game. He just seems to be improving, gaining a bit more confidence. He just slots in perfectly. And was it on this podcast that someone compared it to Coutinho, or I've seen that somewhere else? But
yeah, it was on here.
Yeah, it was you, wasn't it? And I mean, he fits in perfectly, and it's just great to have another Scouser in the team.
Yeah, it really is. I think Mick, with the whole, the Leighton Stewart, Clarkson and Kane scenario, is it would be great to see those names on the team sheet just for right, let's see what they can do, because we've produced so many good players at the academy, and if we look at the three of them, Leighton Stewart has been sort of renowned for being like the second coming of Robbie Fowler, the way he finishes and stuff like that, and Leighton Stewart has come out and said
2-0 Leipzig.
Oh, okay. Nice one, Greg. Leighton Stewart has come out and said that his Liverpool heroes are Robbie Fowler and Michael Owen because he recognises his game is very similar to those two, which is really good. Leighton Stewart's 18 years of age. He got 16 goals last season. He's featured for the under-23s and he scored against Everton at every level, which I think is brilliant. So as a striker, you've got sort of, when you're looking at that, you're thinking, yeah, he's definitely one for the future. And if anybody gets likened to Robbie Fowler, is great in my book. When you look at Clarkson, he's 19. If people don't remember, he actually scored against Blackburn in the friendly that we had just before the Project Restart. And he's a very Klopp number 6 type of player. Which is quite widely recognised, obviously with Fabinho in that mould as well. And then Kane as well. He's a good player that gets goals and assists from midfield. He's done really well for the under-18s. He started for Shrewsbury. So he's got a little bit of first team action, and he's sort of looked upon as a leader. So we've got 3 players there that are on the cusp, like you said about Curtis Jones. Might be a little bit too early for him this season, but if we're going to give him some minutes and a taste of what they can have, tomorrow's the good chance to do it.
Is it start him or just to bring him off the bench then?
Either or.
I'd bring them off the bench towards the end maybe, because I think if we get a couple, it'd be like a good way to do it. And I think all these youngsters that were obviously you just touched on there, Jay, like it's easier now because they're coming into a side that's so good and they can just slot in and fill a hole and also have the confidence from the best manager in the world to go, right, I'm going to play my own game. Whereas 10, 15 years ago, maybe when like other academy lads are trying to come through, you look at like Connor Cody and whatever else, those trying to force their way into plans isn't just quite the same, is it? Because they've got to come in at this level rather than there and then going like this slowly, like the likes of Neco Williams, like is doing that, and you can see that in the performances. He's getting better and better. So it's just like you said, like the 19 is like I think people, when you talk about Curtis Jones on Twitter, like I have a couple of times, people respond going, well, like maybe 6 months ago when I was talking about him, they were saying, you should be showing how good he is now. Like 19's the age where you should be showing how good you are. And I get that. But there's some players you're comparing them to, like the likes of Mbappe, who are just a bit like freaks of nature. You can't really compare to someone like an Mbappe and like other players like that have came in and hit that level like that. That doesn't happen very often. But you've got to build your way up, haven't you, Matt, in terms of your progression. And like if they get put in tomorrow, Kane and Clarkson, then what a night it'll be for them both having a debut.
I mean, there's a lot of world-class players that were at lesser levels than Curtis Jones when they were 19. So, I mean, it's like you said, it's the elite that hit these levels at 19. Your Ronaldos, your Messis, your Mbappes. I mean, he might turn into that. We don't know. We don't know what the next few years on the Klopp's going to do. But to be at the level he's at now at 19 is very impressive. When I was 19, I was, I think, in my first year at uni, just drinking. So I mean, he's definitely doing something a lot more impressive than I was at 19. So yeah, and with the kids, with the kids that are yet to come in, this could be a chance for them to, if they're in the squad, then Klopp's got faith in them. And Klopp said the other day, if they're a Liverpool academy player, then they're talented already. The fact that he's picking them in these squads means that they're more talented than the other academy kids. There's other players to give chances to, and he might give them a chance. If he gives them a chance, it's because they deserve it. Klopp's not one to just throw people in for charity's sake or to be nice. He'll throw them in if they deserve it, and if they deserve it, then we should be excited.
Yeah. And I always forget that Cometio's only 18 as well. That still absolutely baffles me. He's built like he's like 25, and he's like massive. So that'll be Boston as well.
Like that thing on Bad Boys too, isn't it? When that 15-year-old knocks on the door and he goes, "How old is you?" He goes, "Motherfucker, you look 30."
Reggie.
Yeah, Reggie.
What a moment that is, boss. Yeah, but like if they get thrown in tomorrow, which I hope they do. Like in terms of let's go start 11 predictions. Then I'll give you mine first. See if you agree. I'm going for Kelleher in goal, Trent right back, Reece Williams, Cometio, Tsimikas, and a midfield three of Jones, Henderson, and Keita, and then forward three of Jota, Origi, and Minamino. What are you thinking about that one?
I agree with all of that, except I think he's going to give
Hendo a drop.
Fabi. I think he'll put Fabi in for Cometio, and then we might see Cometio after half time. I don't think he'll put two kids.
Yeah. I think if it was the Ajax game, maybe I think he wouldn't have done that. But the fact that it's like he's got like a free spin, hasn't he? In terms of like if we lose, we lose. Like it doesn't really matter. Obviously, he said in the press conference like it's Liverpool, we don't want to lose any games. But this is a chance to like rest Wijnaldum, rest Fabinho. I think if you take Hendo out, it might be. I don't want to see the game lost before it starts because he sets the tempo. But I think giving him maybe the first 45 and get us hopefully a couple of goals, then we can make the changes then, can't we, Jay? In terms of moving.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think you're right there. I think for me, I love Henderson that much. I'm always a case of like whenever we can rest him because he's one of the first names, if not the first name on the team sheet. But I think you're right, mate. I think that playing away from home, the tempo needs to be set. He does such a good job for us, and when he doesn't play, it does go notice. So I think you're right. Maybe bring Hendo off at half time if we are going on. But I'd love to see Keita start the game, definitely.
Yeah, I think he, like I said, like for some of them it means a lot, and it means a lot in terms of getting them fitness in the legs. Like Keita's, I'm always worried when he gets started and plays, but because I don't want him to get injured. But then if he doesn't play, we're never going to see him. So it's kind of like I'm in a vicious circle because I'm always worried that he's gonna. Because he puts so much effort and tempo into his game, doesn't he? Like he charges everywhere that you just go, his hammy's going to go any second. So that's the only thing. But he needs these minutes in the legs, doesn't he? Especially with Fulham coming up on Sunday and then the big one on next Wednesday against Spurs, where we're two of the teams at the top of the table. So it'd be good to see Naby, wouldn't it, Matt? Obviously back into the team and hopefully bag a little Wildy. That'd be boss.
I mean, everyone knows I'm a big Naby Keita fan. He's just different to the midfielders that we've got on offer. But yeah, it's what you say. He puts so much effort in that you're always worried when he's busting a sprint that this guy's about to pull something or something's about to tear. but he needs the minutes. If not, he is going to pick up another injury. It's just one of those things that you can't have one without the other. He has to start. If not start, he has to at least come off the bench. But if he doesn't start, then you're kind of questioning who's going to go in instead, because Gini definitely needs a rest, and we have no one else available.
Yeah,
Millie's out, Ox is out, Thiago's out. We're kind of running a bit thin there. So Naby coming back, getting him the minutes, it's going to be vital, just not for him, but for the squad as well, because if he can get some minutes in and not get injured tomorrow, then he's in contention for Sunday. I think it's Sunday. And that'll give us another weapon from midfield to tackle Fulham with, because there's no doubt that they're just going to sit back and try and block it. And Naby's good at unlocking that door. So hopefully he starts, hopefully he gets some minutes, and hopefully he doesn't get crocked again.
Yeah, and there's another one as well who's just came back to first team training today, which is Oxlade-Chamberlain. And obviously it's too soon for tomorrow, I think, reading what the journals are saying, Ghosty. But he should be back for the squad for Sunday. So that's another piece of good news. Just like that, this is what we've been saying. Like, we're doing so well at the minute. It's these players are going to start trickling in, and we're only going to get stronger, aren't we, Jay? That's the thing. The squad's only going to get stronger and stronger as these players start coming back in.
Yeah, it's frightening. I'm sure I saw a tweet going around from an Arsenal supporter saying, like, if this is Liverpool now, when they've got, most of the first team missing, imagine what it's going to be like when we all come back. And I like the tweet in one way, but then obviously when you think about it, Alisson's on his way back. He should be back for Fulham. Alisson. And then we're not going to see Virg or Joe for the rest of the season. I really don't think. No. I can't see it. Although the stuff where I'm looking at Van Dijk and he's back at the AXA training centre and he's the bits and pieces doing, you sort of looking and you're going, do they know something we don't? And you sort of like, oh. Yeah. So I'm not going there anyway. I'm not fueling fire. I'm wiping it away. And Thiago, we're not going to see till the new year. So we're doing very well, and it's good to see. And the fact that the Ox is coming back, it's another dynamic in midfield, like you just said, and it's another game where we can be like, we've got another option, and a very, very good option in the Ox, because again, with these injuries and the Ox coming back, he'll be chomping at the bit to go, this could be my chance again.
Yeah, and exactly like it, like you said with Alisson, like it was like a blessing in disguise that he got injured, and we got to see Kelleher for 2 games. Like, and now we know that we've got a capable understudy. Like it's weird the way that it works, because I know after me and Matt, I think it was me and Matt on the pod, didn't we? After Alisson got injured, and we were like, who's going to be our backup now? And we were like, Kelleher wasn't even mentioned. We were thinking, well, Adrian's not going to be it long term. Who can we sign? Yeah, we're listing all these keepers that were potentially available from like clubs like it was like Johnston from West Brom and Dubravka and all these other all these names that could be potential seconds, and then Kelleher's just not came out of the wilderness, but like he wasn't really thought of as a valid option, was he, Matt, in terms of being able to do that role?
No, not really. And to be fair, like the last time we saw Kelleher, wasn't it the 5-0 against Villa, or did he play against Arsenal? But I think it was last season against Villa, wasn't it?
Villa.
I think so. Yeah.
Thinking about it as well, I suppose it's a bit harsh because he didn't exactly have cover in front of him. He had the kids in front of him as well. So I mean, I suppose that's harsh judgment there. But he's been brilliant. No complaints whatsoever. He's looked really solid. He's definitely made the number 2 position his own. I think we've said it every time we've spoken about him since the Ajax game that this is Adrian's Liverpool career in the bin, basically. The guy's out of contract in the summer, and you can't imagine that he's gonna be offered one and sit third. It's just the question is he the number 2 going forward now in terms of next season? And for me, everything he's shown so far, he should be. I mean, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. He's had 2 or 3 very good performances, and hopefully it continues. So for now, based on his performances, I'd have no qualms. If Alisson got injured again, I don't think I'd be too concerned. And that's quite big, considering the number 2s that we've had the last few years. Because whenever Alisson's gone down, we're like, well, this is gonna impact us massively. And this kid's come in without the leadership of Van Dijk ahead of him, and kept 2 clean sheets. Like, he has smashed it. So I'm happy enough.
Yeah, I think he surprised everyone, though, hasn't he? Like, when you look, I watched the match of the day again today, like just to have a little, just to be have a little watch for it because it was Boss, the 4-0 win over Wolves. And it's just as like even his handling, like even like crosses, he was coming out, both hands on it, catching it, like no messing around, no punching. Obviously, he came out and flicked one round for a corner, but that was necessary. But the times where he had to come out and catch,
yeah,
he was just making it look. He was looked like I don't want to big him up, but he was looking like a mini Alisson. And I know he spends a lot of time with Alisson, and he can pick up loads of great little tips off him. But he just looks perfect, doesn't he, Jay? In terms of like, is the development he's had since last year in terms of his kicking and handling, it's improved tenfold, hasn't it?
Yeah, he'd be chomping at the bit. He's been around the squad for a long time now in terms of like this Klopp side. So he's seeing what his squad mates have achieved and he wants a piece of it. So he's going to take every opportunity he gets. He got a little bit judged on the 5-0 game against Aston Villa last year, which was a bit unfair. It was unfair on a lot of the lads, to be fair, because they did make a really good start to that game, and you can't really judge anybody on that performance because they did a very good account of themselves, Keller included. But like Martin Barnes just said, a bit like Trent, sometimes you just need the opportunity, and Keller was took to us. And we said that with Trent, didn't we? You know, we had Klein as the number one right back at the time, and everybody was sort of a bit like, oh, if Klein gets injured, who are we going to have? And Trent stepped in, and there were eyebrows raised, thinking, we know he's a great talent, but can he do it? And he did, and he's doing the exact same thing. And Keller was like Martin's just said, Keller was doing it, man. And let's fingers crossed it keeps going like that.
See, the question right now is, where do you think Adrian's head's at?
I do feel sorry for him a little bit. I really do. I think because, you know, he came in last season with no club up until a couple of weeks before the season starts, if not a week before the season starts, especially after Mignolet dropped the ball dropped the bombshell that he wanted to leave. Because Klopp said in that documentary in the end of the storm that he was a bit like, what, you want to go? We start in a couple of weeks. Yeah. And he's come in, and then he basically won us the Super Cup in a matter of fact, and he played the first 8 games of the season, and he did well. And he when you look at the history of second goalkeepers that earn the winners' medals, it'd be hard pressed to find a backup goalkeeper in any other Premier League winning side that deserved the medal more than Adrian. You know, the way you look at it. Yeah. So you see my point on that, don't you? So and it is a bit of a shame, but again, let's not let that counterbalance that 10 days last season when it was the Atletico Madrid game and the Chelsea game in the Cup, when those mistakes did cost us 2 competitions when we probably could have gone all the way in both of them. So it is a shame, I'm gutted, but again, it won't be a case of, for me personally, and I'll put this question to you boys, I won't completely hate Adrian when he leaves. I'll be, fair play to you, thanks for helping. You got your Premier League winners medal. We appreciate it. See you later. What about you two?
Same. Like there's not more you can, like you said, Jay came in, won us the Super Cup, and we were like, is this the second goalkeeper we've been wanting for a while who can come in and be a decent enough understudy? And obviously, like you also said, you can't the Atletico Madrid game, and even like this season with Aston Villa, where their first goal, he passes to Gomez, and Gomez is like just like little things. And I think was it that same game where he comes flying out and Gomez has got it under control and he just bumps into him, and you just like, there's just no communication there. And I think it's difficult for keepers because I think he's kind of like, he reminds me of like Pickford, like a bit of an ego, and thinks he's better than he is. I don't know.
Good point.
Maybe that's what it is. And I think Alisson's obviously very calm, cool and collected. And I think Kelleher's quite moulded in the same type of way as that he's not going to take unnecessary risks. And I think Alisson came to the club maybe with that in him, that he might do that. Obviously the Leicester game where he made that bad error. Since then, he's not been doing any, like, what was the game where he chipped it over someone's head? I can't remember what one it was, but just...
Oh, it was Brighton.
Yeah, it's supposed to look back on now, but Jesus Christ, like, fucking hell, what are you doing there? Just get rid of it. So it's difficult, isn't it? Because, like, I'm not, like you said, Jay, I'm not going to be, oh, thank God we've got rid of him, Adrian, next summer if he leaves when his contract ends. I'll be like, well, he came in, done his job as best he could. Obviously wasn't blessed in terms of being anywhere near as good as Alisson, but who is? And now we've got a player who could be, who could be a good and a better understudy than an Adrian and come in and do a good job.
Yeah, I like what you just said there about could. You know, you haven't gone full pelt and gone, he is better, you know, because a lot of people will sort of probably feel that. And why shouldn't we at the end of the day? He's been very good for the last few games. But Matt, I know you'll put your thoughts on this now, but I'm glad that we've said Cub because we don't want to add too much pressure to him at the minute. So yeah, go on, Matt. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, like Keller has had, based on his last 2 games, he's been brilliant. No qualm being him being the understudy. That's based on his last 2 games. That's not a reflection of how the rest of his career is going to go. He'll have trials and tribulations. He'll have ups. He'll have downs. It's how he responds to those downs. That'll see if he has a future career at Liverpool. So that's yet to come. The guy's 22. But regarding Adrian, I'm not going to be sad to see him go, but I'm not going to be cheering his departure either. His mistakes against Atletico, look, he knows what he did. But fortunately, it wasn't a Champions League final like another goalkeeper of ours that cocked it up. Unfortunately,
what you said there, mate, is exactly, you know, it's an exclamation point to what you've just said, Matt. Sign of a good side, we have to be ruthless. And Adrian has had his chance and made too many mistakes. Now it's harsh, but that's it to the league clubs. Martin's absolutely spot on there. When you're at this level now, we can't afford to let you get away with it because it's not like a one-off, you know. So. Spot on, Matt.
He's not a bad goalkeeper, and I'll stick by this. He's not a bad goalkeeper because he can make a save, and he's bailed us out a few times, especially with his one-on-ones. I think one-on-one, he's very hard to score against in a one-on-one.
If he's got any like qualities which are really good in terms of being amongst the best goalkeepers in the world, one-on-one, he's really surprisingly good. That's the one thing I've noted.
Some of his decision making, especially with the ball at his feet, is definitely what lets him down. I think all of his mistakes have been when he's got the ball at his feet. And given the way Liverpool want to play, especially given Alisson's brilliance with the ball at his feet, given Kelleher's what he's recently shown, it's just an aspect of modern day football that the keepers need to be good at. And if it's letting him down, and as a result letting the team down, then unfortunately Liverpool's not the club that he's going to see the rest of his career out in. But thanks for what he's done. Thanks for the Super Cup. And thanks for the points that he helped rack up at the start of last season. So hopefully he has fond memories at Liverpool, and I'll try not to remember Atletico whenever I'm thinking of Adrian.
That was a really nice way of saying thanks, but fuck off, Matt. Well done, lad.
Score predictions, boys. What we're saying?
Go on, Matt.
Let's go 2-2.
Oh,
I'm gonna go for 3-1 again, and then hope it's 4-0 like the Wolves game.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. I'm going with 4-0. Sod it. I'm being disrespectful. I've had half a lager. I'm being disrespectful. Greg Powers said 3-0. Now I don't know whether he's actually saying 3-0 for United because he has kept us up with the United score, or it's 3-0 as his prediction. So let's just.
Well, I think it's both.
Let's just take Greg's 3-0 prediction as that. But yeah, good show that, boys.
Yeah, and we will be back. When will we be back? We're back tomorrow. Well, we don't know we'll be back tomorrow because it's a 5 to 6 kickoff, isn't it?
So it's an early one, yeah.
Yeah. Do the review. We'll do the review at some point.
Yeah, I might be on my bill doing the team news, but we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
We'll do the team news and then we'll do the match review. No problem at all. We'll still be doing it. Whether it's Mick's on his lonesome doing the team news, but you'll get it.
Right. We will see you in a bit.